Where were we? So I did a little bit off stream this morning. I fixed that weird bug whereby we would advance the victory screen when we blow up all the enemies on map 2. That was just some stupid logic bug. And then I added just some switch to make it more convenient to turn off debugging. That's fine. So last time we looked at this on stream, we had gotten the power balance menu kind of stubbed out, like it displays now, but it displays that the data is even correct, but it's not interactive yet. So tonight I want to make it interactive, and then that will be complete. First thing I want to do is use our new switch and turn off that debugging. So yeah, now we want to make this guy interactive. Also, I just realized this remaining thing is not correct. Let's fix that first. That's the total, not what's actually remaining. Let's fix that. It's like if you have 10, power points and they're allocated, remaining should say 0, obviously, not 10. Oh look, I'm already dropping frames. ISP is terrible. So what we called sum I'm trying to think if we need to change the way our unit is structured. Initially, I was thinking we wouldn't need to record as a separate number the available power, because that would be expressed as the sum of the stat values, but really that's not correct, because if we deallocate power, we need to know what we have available. So let's just add a property, I guess. We'll have it default to 10. Again, there are game balance questions and stuff here that I haven't thought through, but oh shit. But I don't really care about that right now, so we're gonna go with 10 power and move on. And I want power. Let's do PWR. So then, let's rename sum to, let's call it alloc, or allocated. And then I guess where we're displaying remaining, we don't want to show allocated, we want to show unit.power minus allocated. I have unit right? Yeah. Yeah, so I think that's what we want, and then if we got it right, this will display 0. That looks correct, and let's just sanity check this by changing that to 3, and we should see remaining 2. Yeah, okay, good. Alright. Fixed. So, okay, alright. That was easy. So now, then, we want to make this thing interactive. And we worked out a pattern for this already. I don't entirely remember what it is, but we have it somewhere. Not there. I guess this is it. Yeah, that looks right. Okay. Oh, the first thing we... Actually, there's one more display question to work out. And it's how do we indicate which stat we are looking at, which, you know, which we have selected. Does... So what we're going to have is in the menu... Sorry I'm dropping frames already. I can't believe my ISP is this terrible. What we're going to have is, in the menu, one of these 3 choices is going to be selected. And the one that is selected should be displayed in a different color. By default, 1 is selected. So we can use, excuse me, we can use this pattern. Just do the same thing here. This shouldn't look any different. Is that gray? I want that gray color. There's like a light gray and a dark gray. I think my mouse died. There we go. That's weird. Whatever. Okay. 6 is gray, 7 is white, so let's default to 6. Good. Now there's all... Actually, let's make this 6. I don't know if this will be too subtle. Let's try this. And then we want to use white if and only if the current label that we're drawing is matches the menu state, right? So if self choices self cell is equal to stat color is 7, so we default to using that gray. But if the selected menu item matches the statistic that we're currently looping through, displayed in white. So if that worked, we should see attack in white. And it did. I don't think that's too subtle to see. What's the darker gray? 5. We can see what this looks like. This will be less. I might do that. That's much clearer. Let's try it. Sure, whatever. Let's try it. And now we need to make the... Let's make the up and down arrows work. I want up and down, obviously, to cycle among the stats, and then I want left and right to adjust. I want to refactor how I... Oh, the other thing I did off screen, this is trivial, but let's go ahead and leave this open, actually. I renamed input button P to input.rep for repeat, because that's a clearer name. And then I realized I actually need to change how I have... excuse me, I've set up the inputs, because this thing doesn't actually work the way I wanted it to. Or wait, no, this works fine. I have another branch going where I try to create an input.once method that would require that you lift your finger from the keyboard before another key press would be sent to the game. And I realized that it doesn't work, because if I invoke that method multiple times on the same update loop, it doesn't behave the way I want. So I'm going to have to refactor this to probably just pull the inputs at the beginning of each update loop and then cache the state of the buttons, and then work the logic based off of that recorded state. I don't think I'll do that tonight. I don't even know if I'll do that on camera, because it'll be boring. But that's where this is going. So right now, this thing we're implementing... Do I care about this? No. So this thing we're implementing won't be perfect tonight. But that's fine. We're not aiming for perfect yet. So if button, what do I call these, up, down? Let's see, this is what I don't have yet. Well, yeah, okay, whatever. We'll do this. If button up dot repeat. Wait, and that's not correct. That's a bug. Not a bug, that's irrelevant. If button up. If you're pressing up and self.cell is greater than or equal to 2, then self.cell otherwise, if you're pressing button down and self.cell, is that right? Yeah. And self.cell is less than or equal to 3. I might have this backwards. Pressing up, I want to go toward 1, which is subtraction. And pressing down, I want to go toward 3, which is nah, I think that's right. So let's see if that worked. And if that worked, now we'll be able to move our selection up and down. I can select past. Nullify one error. That should be 2. That looks great. And then now the trick is to get the current unit, the current selected unit passed to this guy. Where's menu balance update called? Didn't I already do a gross thing here with cursor.unit read out of the global or something? What did I do here? Yeah, I did cursor.cell. That's gross, but let's do it again. Much later on, I'll probably take a refactoring pass through all this stuff and try to get rid of these globals, but for now, this will work. So now we have access to our unit, and If button left, repeat. And unit dot stat self dot choices self dot cell. I think that's correct, but that's sort of gross. Let's just do local stat equals I think it's self dot choices self dot cell and then unit dot stat is greater than or equal to 1, then I think. Let's see if that works. So we should be able to drain power. Yeah, we can. Look at it go. All right. Wow, it's going pretty good. And then same logic with one more conditional. Button right, repeat, unit dot stat is less than, we want 5 to be the maximum. It has to be less than 5. And well, this isn't correct yet, but let's make sure we've gotten this much correct. We also need to make sure that we don't exceed the power budget, right? And this doesn't do that yet. Let's make sure we got this much correct. So we can add and subtract. And this is where we don't want that to happen, right? We don't want a negative. How do I make that check? Power will be modified Power's going to be modified when we take damage, so I can't check against that. I could create like an allocate variable and then create methods on unit that do this plus and minus, but which wouldn't be terrible because then I could use that same code for no, I couldn't reuse that. I was thinking that maybe I could use that code for tracking damage and repair if repair is a thing, but I think I might just add this here. I'm just gonna do this. It's not the most efficient way, but it will be fine. That's the battle screen. And alloc is less than unit dot power. Good. Let's see what that does for us. Click. Blows up. Attempt to call a table value. Force stat in unit.stat. Actually, I don't even think this is the problem, but let's do self.choices. Do alloc equals alloc plus unit stat stat, unit stat stat. That looks correct. It probably is not. Attempt to call a table value. Oh, was it pairs? Looks correct. It's actually perfect. So that's going to be the core game mechanic right there, is, you know, rebalancing unit stats on the fly and then attacking or whatever. Now let's see, when I do this... Oh, I also want to change speed to move. Now when I do that, I'm going to have to redraw the radii. Unless I get that... I might get that for free. And I need to remember to rename speed to move, because that is much clearer. So let's change our... Let's do that. Yeah, okay, the radii didn't redraw. That seems to have rebalanced every unit. That's not right. Well, we're sort of partly working. That like modified the prototype or whatever. They didn't modify the actual instance. I don't know why that happened. Let's see what this diff looks like so far. Also, what was... Right. I guess I'll commit this stuff. So we have a few problems. The balance menu appears to modify the prototype, the unit prototype, and the radii don't get updated. Let's just do that in a separate commit. I'm just trying to think how to make this commit history clean, but I don't think I care. I think I'd rather do this first. I wonder if the language server is smart enough to do this. No. See if that got that. Now speed should be labeled MOV for movement. That all looks correct. And then if I set movement... Oh, I also kind of want... I also kind of want to be able to close that menu with the action button. Just notice the firing radius appearing. I don't know if I want that or not. An indication that the unit can fire on its own square. I need to think about that. But let's see that. We can we can commit that change though. That was fine. Let's hide this debugging radius stuff. Well, speed to move, speed to move, speed to move. Good. Okay. Now what did I say? We had two problems. The biggest problem is that the power balance affects the prototypes, or the single prototype, and I don't know why. And the second is that the radii are not redrawn automatically. I guess it's not surprising because I think I only draw the radius when the cursor when this button is pressed. Because that doesn't happen, nothing else, this isn't recomputed. So I should be able to take this logic. Can I just take this and put it here? See what this does. I don't know if this is the elegant way to do this. Oops. But I think it should work. I think it should work. That looks really cool. Let me check something though. I don't know if that was working at first. Might have my finger in the wrong spot. Press X. Press X. I'm pulling from attack and it's not doing anything. It doesn't start doing anything until after I move. Wait. Oh, stupid. Right, attack. Yeah, stupid. It works fine. Attack doesn't influence the radius, so it wouldn't do this. Yeah, stupid. Oh, geez. How's it going, man? Thank you for the big old raid there. How's the voxel game going? Hey, good to see you again. here I'm implementing what's sort of the heart of this game. If there's one core conceit to the game that I'm trying to implement here, it's that I want this thing to be like an Advance Wars / Fire Emblem whatever, but the gist is that instead of having different types of units, you can rebalance units once per turn. And we just got this menu working, and now you can see it happening right here, where you can pull power out of your range, your attack range, and put it in, and pull it out of your movement range and put it in. It looks pretty neat. So the game is called Balance of Power, and this is the idea. You have to balance your unit power. You know, that's just opens up another tactical element. But yeah, that's what we're working on here. Just trying to get this guy wired up. I have at least one bug here where I think this is modifying like the object prototype rather than an individual unit, and I don't know why that's happening, but we can see that it is. I need to fix that. Yeah, I got some Sid music going here. Found a Commodore 64 collection on YouTube or something. I've been listening to it quite a bit because it's sort of appropriate for the era. But yeah, sorry, I have the hardest time with your name. Melchizedek. Tell me if I'm saying that right, but how's your game going? I was lurking the other day, the Voxel Survivor game. That's pretty badass. It looks like a lot of fun. I was checking out your website too. I don't have a Windows machine running yet, or any kind of gaming machine at all, but I'm gonna give that a try. Mel or Ben? Okay, I can manage Mel. Oh yeah, yeah, Mel. Okay, yeah, Mel. That sounds good. That sounds good. Sure, on a Raspberry Pi? That's super impressive. You're working in C and Lisp, is that right? Gotten around to 32-bit builds yet? Yeah. That's super impressive. Run on a Pi. I would have just assumed that voxel stuff is really computationally expensive, but I guess that's not the case. That's pretty interesting. I have like absolutely zero experience working with voxels or anything like that. Okay, yeah, engine in C and Lisp as the glue. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Lisp is another one of those languages I have no experience with, but would like to find just some project, you know, just some reason to use it one of these days, because it's like, I don't have any experience with that whole family of languages, and I've, you know, just from the sake of general curiosity, I would like to learn some. Yeah, so is the performance thing in my head, is that more of a Minecraft problem than a performance problem? Because I assumed it was voxels, but maybe that's not the case. Unit.stat. So never even heard of black voxel. What is that? The Libre game. Nice. I'll have to check that out too. Minecraft that's written in Java, is that right? I've never actually played Minecraft either, except for I tried to play Minecraft exactly once years and years ago, and I didn't have an incredible machine at the time, but I opened the thing up and it ran at like 3 frames a second, and it was like, okay, this isn't going to work, so I closed it, and that was that was that. Yeah, what's his name? Notch, right? The guy's a billionaire now. Good for him, man. Yeah. So see, this is where my Lua knowledge is failing me. To me, it seems like this should be modifying the stat only of the unit instance that is passed in here. What did I pass in there? Maybe I did something stupid there. Where did I do this? No, that's correct. So why is this modifying the prototype? Object-oriented stuff in Lua just looks gross. I don't like this idiom. I mean, this... Wait, I might be misdiagnosing the problem. Let's see. What's the problem? So, I have 3 units, and I want... again, the core mechanism I'm exploring in this game here is the idea that you can, like, rebalance your unit stats per turn. So, I'm on, you know, this top left guy here. I bring up the balance menu, and let's say I want to pull down this guy's movement, right? I want him more or less stationary, but I want to take that power and I want to dump it into his attack, right? Or so you can see it. Oh, his range is already maxed out. So I'm going to turn him into like a long-range cannon, right? So I make that adjustment. I want that adjustment to affect only this unit. I close that menu. I click on this. Wait, what the hell? Hang on. No, yeah, right. So I click on any of these other guys, though, and it looks like that change has been applied to all of them. And I don't understand why that's happening, because... I believe I passed in only the single unit that should be updated. So in the battle screen update loop, blah 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 blah, if the balance menu is visible, run the balance menu update method and pass in the unit that the cursor has selected. And this, I have some global variables in this game that I want to refactor out, but I'm just not there yet. So cursor is a variable, is a global, and cell is the selected unit. So we pass that unit in here. And if the appropriate button presses were made, we update his stats. But somehow, those stat changes are propagating to everyone, or at least that's what it looks like is happening. Unless I'm somehow polluting the other units. Initially I was thinking that I was actually updating these values by accident, and that still could be what's happening. Here, let's do this. Yeah, we can debug that. In the... In the menu draw method, let's do unit.stat.attack and unit.stat.move. Unit.stat.rng, and then let's do lowercase unit. So again, I'm new to Lua, but my understanding is that this unit is the prototype, and this should be the instance, just given how I have the names. So let's see what that is doing. That shows if I'm updating the prototype unintentionally. Okay. Or it could do nothing. What's the deal? Print H should be... Oh, whoops. Print H should be writing that to the terminal. So 532 is both of them. Okay, I am in fact updating the class or whatever. That kind of prototype table. I don't understand. Did I do like a capital U unit somewhere? Seems like a thing I could have done. No? So that must mean I don't understand this idiom fully, because I thought self.index equals self. Would sort of break that association after set meta table was called. Or something. I'm confused though, because that same idiom is working fine. Maybe it's not. I was gonna say maybe it's working fine with pixels, but maybe it isn't. It's working fine with sprites though. Just as an experiment, I want to see what this does. Oh yeah. Let's see what that does. Obviously, I don't want to duplicate the code, but I'll learn something about Lua if that solves the problem. So let's pull out attack, put everything in range, put everything in movement. So that guy in the top left should be affected and no one else. Okay. So that solved the problem. And this guy, let's just drain all of his power. Just... Okay. That's enough. That's an unrelated... bug. Actually, that surprises me, though. Anyway, that did solve it. What it does is redirect non-existent index accesses to the unit table. So yeah, it overwrote the prototype. Okay. Non-existent index accesses to the unit table. I see. Okay. So that's sort of like the method missing thing in Ruby or whatever. Is that the idea? But presumably for properties also or whatever. If you want REST to go to the instance, you have to implement new index in the meta table. Okay. You don't know Ruby, but okay, sure. I barely know Ruby. I used it years ago and pretty quickly fell out of love with it. So would that do it, or is that... Let's see what that does. Okay, that made my guys disappear. I'm gonna assume I didn't get that right. I mean, really, there's no reason this has to be here. And now you'd explain this to me, I'm thinking... I need to move some stuff around. You would expect to be a function. I see. Okay. Okay, thank you. That makes sense. I'm surprised that... cell works. And I think it... Oh, but cell, I think I'm updating with a method or something? Yeah, okay, that's what's going on there. So that works only because I got lucky, I guess, with an... Yeah, okay. So the difference here is that I'm mutating these objects directly, not via methods, which are acting on self. kind of a Lua thing. You either implement classes yourself or use an existing framework. Okay, yeah, alright. That makes sense. Yeah, I appreciate the clarification. I think what I'll just do for now is this, then, because... I think I'll move... Yeah, let me move some of this, actually... Well... I'm gonna think about that and refactor a bit, but this I'll pull, and I'll just move into the instance, because that seems like a straightforward way to solve the problem. So let's see. I appreciate Element. That's good to know. I've been primarily only working in Lua since I've started working on this game, which is a couple of weeks. So I have the basics, but there's still nuance to it that is throwing me off. So I need this too? What's that all about? Attack, range, movement. I don't know why that is necessary. (102). Oh, yeah, of course. Sure, I was right, whatever. You'd recommend I put the instance props in your constructor instead of the proto. Okay. It could be the case that I don't need any proto properties at all. I need prototype methods, but I don't think I actually even need prototype properties at all. Don't need any props. Yeah, okay. Sounds good. So let's refactor that real quick. I appreciate the explanation. That makes a lot of sense. And this we can clean up, but I'll get there in a second. Let's do... Well, no, I do need to do that, I guess. I may want... No. I'm just trying to think what do I actually initialize with, but it's not that. Actually, I think cell might need to be a property. Let's see. Lua has no table merge method? Yeah, okay. And then even beyond Lua, I'm working in Pico 8, which is, it only implements a subset of Lua, so I don't actually even have access to the standard library, which is kind of unfortunate. So let's see. I may actually need... No, I don't... No, I don't need that. I just don't need that at all. I don't need any of this. Yeah, that's it. Okay, element, that makes sense. Properties aren't deep copied. I think I might have encountered that a few weeks ago. I don't remember what the exact situation was, but I had... Yeah, I had some kind of situation where I needed to do a deep copy of an object, and it was a pain in the ass. I don't remember what I did about it, actually. But yeah, okay. That's good to know. So we have our unit's power, stats, and I guess I gotta do that. Is this an idiom? Can I do u dot stat equals u dot stat or table literal? Is that an idiom in Lua? Because I kind of want that, where I want to be able to override u dot stat via the constructor, but I want to have a default. You assign px twice? Oh yeah, I sure do. Thanks. Because really a lot of... Yeah, this is actually... That's very much an idiom. Okay, fantastic. So... That's what I'll do here. And I don't think I even want to bother with a default for cell coordinates, because I'm going to have to manually place these on the map. So let's see what that does for us. 14, unexpected symbol near equals... Okay, and pull your attack and bump your range and movement. And close the menu. Select you. And you, let's just pull your everything. That looks correct. Okay, great. Great. That got it. Or only uses the right-hand side if the left-hand side is either false or nil. Okay. So an unsuitable idiom for bool. Yeah, okay. Right, so you're saying you wouldn't use that... Okay, I see. Because if you use that with a Boolean property, you would either... You'd get like the same thing, right? Because if you initialize a default value to false, you'd always get the right-hand side. Otherwise, you'd get left-hand side with true. Is that what you're saying? Because, yeah, that u.enable thing would always evaluate to true, you mean. Just logically, right? Yeah, okay, understood. That makes sense. So let's see. I guess let's format and then commit that, and then I think there's a bug here. So range 0 is fine, attack 0 is 5, move 0, OOMs, and I think I know why that is the case. Let's commit this first. I don't care about this. The same with Lua. Individual makes sense, but putting them together requires a good chunk of knowledge about the bits. Yeah, that's what I'm finding. Like there's been very little about Lua that is shocking. The one thing that was shocking was numerically indexed tables starting at 1. I lost like half an hour to that because it didn't even occur to me that you have a language that was 1 index. I just hadn't seen that. But yeah, it is the nuance that's been tripping me up. What the hell did I do there? Oh, that's when I had that comma probably in the print H. I don't even want to try to sort that out in the command line. Let me just cheat real quick. I don't think it'd be hard, but I don't want that to run haywire somehow. Yes. Okay. Can I run make? Take a look at this diff. So let's see, I am updating the radii. Let's do 2 commits here. Wait, let me see that again. Menu balance. Yeah, okay. Fix a bug whereby movement and attack radii would not be redrawn after rebalancing a unit's stats. And fix unit refactor prototype, fix a bug whereby the balance menu would update the unit prototype rather than the appropriate unit instance, and refactor, well, move unit prototype properties into the unit constructor out of the prototype. And into the constructor. And then for the bug, fine, bork. When I wrote the radius stuff, at the time I was thinking a movement value of 0 would be just wouldn't occur, but I guess that's not the case. So I think I can short circuit this pretty easy. Maybe, let's see. Yeah, I've separated these out, attack and move, so I can just do this. If movement, and I want to rename that now, if movement is equal to 0, then return. Well, let's see if that fixes the bug. Attack 0, range 0, move. Nope, didn't like it. Movement 0, then return end. Where did that fail? Just out of memory. Did I not save that? Seems like that should do it. Wait a minute. That's not the problem, I guess. Oh, I probably have a division by 0 thing going on. I bet that's... Wait. So attack doesn't matter. Right? But if range and move are both... Movement can be 0, but range and movement cannot both be 0. It's not obvious to me where that would be failing. Just for the hell of it, let's see what this does, if it does anything for us. That does solve the problem. Is it only range that matters? That solved it, but I don't actually understand the root cause. That doesn't make sense. Something's not right. Wait. Oh, no. Okay, there's another behavior I want to change. You all can't see this, but the way this is currently is if I have a unit selected and then click on another unit, it doesn't do anything, and I would rather it select that other unit rather than having to cancel out of a unit to select a new one. I would rather you just select the new one, but that's a separate commit. I'm surprised this fixed that. Range equals range minus 1. There's probably something that goes wrong in the guts of maybe the priority queue or something. If you have a negative range. I don't actually remember how this works now because I wrote it a few weeks ago, but I don't feel like wasting a ton of time on stream trying to figure out the root cause of that, so we might... Maybe the fact you subtract something from RNG, you probably end up with a negative range. Yeah, exactly. I think that's probably what it is. What I don't understand is why it looks like the bug only occurs if both range and move are 0. I would understand what... Well, I wouldn't understand, but it would make more sense if it happened if either were 0. But it seems to crash only when you pull the second one to 0, and I don't understand that. But I don't think I care, though, because... Yeah, like you're saying, it's probably has something to do with you end up with a negative number somewhere you shouldn't have something, and it gets funky on you. So let's just commit that fix and go. And you don't stop on RNG. Yeah, exactly. I think that's that is what triggers the problem, whatever the root cause is. So let's commit that and move on. There's still more to do. Fuck. Fix radius. Fix out of memory crash that would occur if both move and RNG had a value of 0. And what else did I want to do? Because we've renamed some things. I want to rename move to MOV. Okay. Actually, I guess I should make sure it works, huh? Nope. 79. $78. Oh, this radius contains reference. Good. 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 Bad. Bad. Okay. Does pick weight impose hash call stack depth limits because you're iterating over the tiles to highlight using the call stack, so if the range is too big it can complain? I don't know about a call stack depth limit, but it does have some severe constraints, and I did run out of memory earlier. What I did, so there, you know, there's probably a smarter way to solve this. But what I'm doing, my strategy for computing these radii is to use recursion. And initially that, it wouldn't crash. So I'm trying to remember, I don't think it did. But it would run super slow. But I was able to cut down on the work a lot by implementing a cache that checks if we've attempted to visit a cell with a certain remaining movement or attack range budget. Because, you know, the way this is computed is deterministic. So if you visit a cell with the same movement or attack range budget, you're always going to get the same neighbors, etc., etc. So when I started doing this, what I found was performance is now fine. Without it, you'll see what I'm talking about. Let's just take out that cache, right? And now, like, computing this is either going to crash or it's going to take like 90 seconds or something kind of ridiculous. Yeah, out of memory. So the cache, though, makes that work. There's probably a cleverer way to do this. But I think it's actually challenging because... Oh, geez, another raid. Because, you know, my understanding is that any algorithm that is written recursively can be refactored and expressed iteratively. But what I found was that this particular problem was actually really hard to solve when refactored iteratively. So here I kind of slapped some cache on it and walked away. Raid from a French game dev. Excellent. That's very exciting. Who all... Let me pop out chat here so I can actually scroll up and stuff. The raid notification went away. I'm very sorry. Who was the raid? Was it Alexander 2B 2BI 2B1 2BI? Was that the actual? Oh yeah, there we go. Alexander 2BI. Yeah, thank you very much. Excellent. It's nice to meet you, Alexander and chat. What do you guys do? Game developer? What kind of game? What are y'all building? Pick a weight. Excellent. Are you also a pick a weight developer? This is my first ever Pick 08 project, so I'm learning a lot and having a lot of fun so far. Making a mobile RPG game in pixel art. That's very, very cool. Not in Pick 08. Okay, that's still very cool though. Yeah, my pixel art skills are lacking, as you can tell here. I haven't even really tried yet to make this look attractive, and I expect that to be the hard part for me because professionally I'm a software engineer and I'm very much not an artist. So there's going to be a learning curve to that. But in one hand, Pick 08's so intentionally limited that maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll be able to work it out. Kanebo, you're a Unity pixel game developer, but you love Pick 08 games. That's awesome. That's awesome. That you represent. Yeah. So let me explain what I'm building here. Currently, I'm just writing the engine and the core, functionality for a game that I'm calling Balance of Power, and it's a turn-based tactical tile game. Exactly like Advanced Wars. Same vibe as the first SimCity. Love the music. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, this is a Commodore 64 compilation I found on YouTube. It's really been excellent. And yeah, yeah, the cursor. Yeah, so this is heavily inspired by Advanced Wars for sure. Advanced Wars and Fire Emblem are kind of the two of my favorite turn-based, tactical tile games of all time. But there's primarily one core mechanic here that I have not seen in another game before, and I want to explore it. You know how in Advanced Wars you have different types of units, right? You've got your tanks, your infantry, your mecha, your airplanes, your whatever. But ultimately, that's just a facade over different unit stats under the hood, right? So like your tank has high, I don't know, defense and attack, but low mobility or whatever, right? What I'm doing here is I'm creating a game where there's only one type of unit at all, but on each turn, you have the opportunity to rebalance its stats via a power budget. So the game is called Balance of Power, and it's sort of a pun. You're rebalancing your unit power. And that's the functionality we just now finished implementing. So to see it in action, we select a guy, and you can see your default movement and attack radius. But then you click him again, and now you have a menu where you can change this. So let's say this turn I don't need to attack, so I'm going to pull that energy. I'm going to dump everything in movement up to the maximum, and then maybe I'm trying to shoot a guy out there too. So I'll put 1 point in attack, and I'll bump up my movement range or my shooting range, and then I can blast the guy, right? So that's like the core conceit of the game, is that there's one type of unit, and you have the opportunity to rebalance your unit's power. Seems interesting. Yeah, I'm hoping so. What I hope is that it opens up kind of new dimensions of gameplay that I at least have never seen before. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think it might be fun. And then the other thing that's different about this isn't the core conceit, but it's also been on my mind. In CPU-based games, like in one-player games, right, where you're playing the CPU. What I find is that if you're a relatively good tactical game player, usually you're able to win the whole match in one or two moves, right? Because you can put yourself in such an overwhelming winning position that the CPU can't recover, right? And that's because in most games, Fire Emblem, Advanced Wars, etc., you have the opportunity to move every unit on your team before the adversary can do anything, right? And in my mind, that's broken. So the other thing I'm changing here is that each player can only move one unit per turn. So to compare to another turn-based tactical game, this is more like chess, right? Because chess, I would say, is the only tiled turn-based tactical game I've ever seen with this constraint. So I move my guy, He moves his guy. I move my guy. He moves his guy. So you know, when the gameplay is broken up like this, you know, the player that moves first doesn't have an overwhelming advantage anymore. Battle allegiance being one type, you plan on having a visualization of the stats while the units aren't selected. That's something that has been on my mind, and I don't actually know yet. On one hand, like I just said, given that you're only moving one unit at a time, maybe that information will be fresher in your mind. On the other hand, actually it probably won't, right? If there's enough units on the screen, I guess you'd know the one you just selected, but you probably forget about the others. So I don't actually know. That's probably something I need to think about, because like it might even be worth just having like at the bottom of the screen like a hover panel or something that shows you the stats. I don't know, but I think you've raised a question that needs to be addressed, because what I have now probably is not sufficient. Play one-on-one? Yeah, I'll one-on-one you once it's a game. Right now it's not, but it will be eventually. And yeah, this is open source. Absolutely open source. I do a lot of open source work in general. I have one or two projects that are of some note. This is my first game, and it's been a lot of fun because it's exposing me to problems that I don't typically get to solve. Like all of the, you don't see it working here really, but I had to do some 8th star pathfinding stuff, which is now mostly works. And that's all kind of new to me. So that was a lot of fun. Do you think of a speed turn base if you don't add lots of speed on the unit to play later? So so like, are you asking like, what do you think of a speed turn base? Are you talking about like a unit initiative kind of thing, like where units can move in a different order if you don't move one the turn prior? Are you talking about that kind of thing, like an initiative line jump kind of thing? Because right now, the current model is just that you can move any unit, but only one unit. And the rules don't care beyond that. Like you have a speed stats and give it your turn order. Yeah, so right now, there is no like initiative structure or anything. It's just that I can move exactly one unit per turn, and it doesn't matter which unit. Like if I wanted to just run a single unit the whole round, I could do that. And I think that's how I want this to go. But I am still considering like the actual game mechanics stuff, because so far in this project I've just been writing the engine, really. I mean, like this menu didn't even exist like 2 nights ago or something. I just made it interactive tonight. So, you know, right now I'm just focusing more or less on the guts of it, and we'll then come back and think about like, do I really have the game balance correct in my head? And there's another like game design problem I need to think about here too. So you know, like on Advance Wars or Fire Emblem or XCOM, or actually not XCOM, but yeah, Advance Wars, Fire Emblem, whatever. You have this, right? You click on your guy or you click on an enemy guy and you see your movement radius and your firing radius, or his movement and firing radius. What I'm not sure about now, though, is in this game, this information can be misleading, right? Because I rebalance my power and all of a sudden it changes. So is that good? Is that bad? Is that something I need to visually represent? I don't know. I don't know. It did counter a one-shot unit. It didn't counter a one-shot unit. When you say a one-shot unit, do you mean a unit with one point in attack, or like a really weak unit? And that's another thing, by the way. Another mechanic that I think I want is I want your power budget to double as your hit points. So, like right now, I have 10 power units to allocate. Like, you move your unit, you kill one enemy unit. It did counter a one-shot unit. You move a unit, you kill one enemy unit. Are you talking about like getting energy from killing a unit, that kind of thing? Or are you talking about moving and then attacking? Because that's something else I haven't implemented yet. Right now, you can move or attack. And I did that thoughtlessly. I didn't realize I had done that, but now I'm not sure. Yeah, okay, right, like in Fire Emblem. Yeah, so I think I want to make the change such that it's exactly like Fire Emblem. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so Fire Emblem, there's a lot to discuss there. So what you're talking about, how it's possible to clear a map with no damage. In my mind, that is almost a game design problem to solve. Because that's what I'm saying. If you're good at Fire Emblem, and I think I'm okay at it, it is very, very easy to take no damage at all, because again, you can move all of your forces before the enemy. Yeah, that's what you think too. Yeah, you can move all of your forces before the enemy can make any response. And in my opinion, that just makes it like way too easy of a game. So what I want is for that to be, I don't want to say impossible in this game, but much more difficult, because the first player isn't going to have that overwhelming advantage of being able to make the first move without encountering any resistance at all. And see, this gets at what I was talking about a second ago too, where in Fire Emblem, in Advance Wars, in XCOM, in Shadowrun, in all these games, you can move and then you can attack, and that's very, very common. I think that's standard. I'm still trying to decide if I want that in this game. Do I want it such that you can move and then attack, or do I want it where you can move or attack, one or the other? Because the other trap I'm trying to avoid falling into here is I don't want to create a situation where there's kind of like a rock, paper, scissors dynamic with this attack range move. But like the players go one at a time, right? Because that would give player 2 an advantage, because player 2 could just see what player 1 did and then counterattack. I'm just trying to make sure that I keep this balance and I don't give either player an advantage, an unfair advantage. And I'm considering making it such that you can move or attack instead of move and attack, just again to make the advantage less. Well, I guess to factor out that advantage. That. Okay, that's why you speak about speed stats. You can balance on the turn, like you want your unit to place first next time, but decide to move or not attack. Yeah, see, that I just need to think more about. I don't know. The other nice thing about move or attack is that it solves this problem I was talking about a second ago, where the radii can lie to you. Well, it doesn't entirely solve it, but it mitigates it to some degree, because no, it doesn't. Actually, it doesn't. No, I'm wrong. I take it back. Thoughts: global energy budget and delay rebalancing by one or more turn to alleviate the fact that the enemy stats aren't reliable metrics, but that gets mentally complex. Thank you very much, Alex. Yeah, thank you for the raid, and let me give you a quick follow here. I want to see your game. How do I follow? There we go. Yeah, thank you again, and next time I'll see you in your stream. I want to see what you're up to. So thank you very much. Have a great night. Element. Okay, thoughts. You bet, Alex. Have a great night. I appreciate it. Global energy budget and delay rebalancing by one or more turn to alleviate the fact. That's actually interesting. So yeah, make the effect of the rebalance take a turn. Or I guess could also do it where like you can move or attack or rebalance. That could be another way to think about the game. Because then you would have reliable radii, but you couldn't just like switch him and then go blow the guy up before he had the information. Maybe that's the way. That's a really interesting thought element. You're moving me to make a strategy game. Time to write some specs. Excellent. Yeah, there. I these days, like, I'm an old man and I'm very much a casual gamer, and I've been a casual gamer since I was a child. But strategy games are the one type of game that I can get like really serious about, because I feel like strategy games, what you can learn at strategy games, like follows you into the real world. You know, like I feel like I have, you know, learned a lot about real life by thinking through problems presented to me in strategy games. And of course that goes, you know, same with chess or whatever, right? Like games like this actually teach you how to think, and I really like that. So yeah, strategy games are my favorite genre. If you know all the stats on a turn, can you get them on the next turn? Yes, yeah. If for some reason I wanted to, wait a minute. Oh, sorry. Let me. There we go. I just screwed up my chat. What the hell am I doing? Reset. Yeah, so there's nothing preventing you from pulling power in reserve and just holding on to it. I don't know if you would want to, but you can do it. Actually, you know, that's interesting too, now that you mention it, because maybe that opens up a meta game of you can feign what your energy budget is. Like if you just pull... Actually, I really like that idea. Like, so if I had... Oh, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself, and I'm muttering a lot because you guys have me thinking. Let me explain one other thing, and then Sante, I want to come back to your idea there. So the other idea I had for the game is that I want your hit points effectively to be your stat points, right? So if I take damage, the energy I have available for the unit is decreased by the damage. Now, with that said, your comment about leaving points in reserve, well, maybe that would be a cool way to fake out the other player, assuming you're playing a human, right? Because then you're feigning as if you have fewer health points and your attack radius, your movement radius is smaller than it is. But in fact, you know, it's just a ruse, right? You have power in reserve. Maybe that's actually a cool mechanic. I need to think about that too. Nice, nice. Unity, another Unity dev, Kanebo. That's awesome. It can add dimension to reflection like we have in the card game. Monopole. Yeah, it's that's basically what it is. It is just like your pool of energy. Another idea I've been playing around with is there are two ideas. One idea is maybe I want it to be possible to link units. So like one unit can give energy to another unit or something. I don't know if that's too complex or too weird, because the game's already a little weird, and I want it to be a little weird. I don't want it to be super crazy weird and thus just like impossible to get your head around. But that was an idea I had of making it possible to like link units. Another idea I had, and I think I'm going to do something along these lines, is there needs to be something on the map, some resources that you want to go capture for an advantage, right? And I also may want to put bases into the game, like Advance Wars, where you can win by blowing up all the enemy units, or you can go capture their base. I haven't decided on that yet. Because again, like, here's another distinction between Fire Emblem / chess, kind of, and Advance Wars, is that, like, you know, in Advance Wars, you can not only capture cities and bases and stuff, but you can build new units, right? In Fire Emblem, and to a lesser degree chess, you have what you have, and you can't get any more units. Now, in chess, of course, you can queen a pawn, right? I guess you can't create a new unit, but you can upgrade a unit. You can queen a pawn. So I haven't yet decided if I want either of those mechanics. I think I'm leaning toward this being more like Fire Emblem in that regard, and less like Advance Wars, in that I don't think you want factories. But I do want something on the map that you gain an advantage from capturing. Maybe that thing will allow you to repair units. Maybe that thing will add to an energy pool. I haven't decided yet. That's still something I got to figure out. But I feel like having some objective on the map, though, is fundamental to this this type of game. So I'm gonna do something. I just don't know what yet. The other crazy idea I've had for this game, and here I'm in way over my head here, but I had an idea. Add building on the map can lead to think of a map control. Why not? You can only reassign power on a building. Okay, yeah, that's an interesting idea. You have to capture a building to be able to reassign power. That's an interesting idea. Another sort of related concept is, you know, I'm still, another thing I'm still thinking about is, do I want flying units and, you know, water units, boat units or whatever and such? And if so, how does that fit in to this? Or does it fit into this? You know, one solution is just, if we go like the Fire Emblem route, on some maps you just have units and they can fly and they have a different shape or something, and that's it. And I think I'm leaning toward that. But another option would be, you know, you can exchange some number of points for the ability to fly or something. I don't know. That's another thing to consider. Yeah, I haven't figured that out. The other thing I was getting at, this crazy idea I've had. And I'll say off the bat, I'm likely to fail at this, but Pick Away imposes some very harsh constraints on your game intentionally, and you can see, and you know, those constraints are pertaining to like file size and the number of characters you're allowed to use in your code, and tokens, which are things like the equal sign and braces or something, so that kind of stuff. What I would like, though, would be for a game with very sophisticated and challenging AI, but I think that would be difficult to implement within that constraint, and two, just difficult to implement, period, right? So here's my crazy idea. I don't think this will work, but I'm gonna go for it. I'm writing this thing in Lua, and I've written it such that you can just kind of see what I've done here. I've written it such that the Lua files can be imported like in a modular way outside of the pick-away environment. And what I would like to try to do would be structure the core game state object such that I can actually use machine learning, reinforcement learning, to try to figure out, code golf time. Yeah, that's another option. Use machine learning to actually have this computer play itself a bunch to figure out the optimal way to play the game, and then take that, neural net output, serialize it or some shit, and embed it in the game. Because I think there's a slim chance I could actually succeed in doing that. And I don't have this camera. Do I? Is this camera on? Give me 1 second to check something. See if this camera works. Okay, yeah. So what you can see there is years ago I made this weird hardware. Sorry, it's all scuffed. I didn't plan on showing this tonight. I made this weird hardware. This was an Ethereum mining rig, and I'm going to repurpose this thing into a TensorFlow lab for deep learning, right? So I want to see if I can, fitting a neural net and a pick weight on top of a game might prove a challenge. It absolutely might prove a challenge. But I think it might be possible, because I've been reading these books about TensorFlow Lite for like using neural nets on like embedded devices and stuff. Thank you, Sante. I appreciate it. That was fun. You've made this in Lua on Ragnarok Online. What did you make in Lua? But yeah, I want to take that machine and see if I can set it up with TensorFlow to use deep learning and reinforcement learning to train, a TensorFlow model to play this game really well, and then take that output, quantize it to integers to shrink it, possibly string compress, like compress that, dump it in pick a weight. I don't know, but there's like a TensorFlow.js project available, which I've only looked at very briefly, for using TensorFlow in the browser or in Node. And what I wanted to do was take a look at that and see how much work it would take to port a lightweight version of that into Lua, and then just drop that thing in the game, because that would be super, super cool if I could actually get a neural net and pick a weight. That just isn't a thing that people do. So we'll see. That'll come very, very late in the game, because I can tell you, I currently have next to no experience with machine learning, but I have a pretty strong interest in it, and I'm a reasonably fast learner. So I'm going to dork around with that. I need to upgrade that hardware to make it suitable for this purpose. I need to upgrade the motherboard and the CPU, which I'll probably do tomorrow or Monday. But anyway, that's like the crazy plan. I don't know if it'll work. It probably won't work. We'll probably have to just write a normal AI to play against, and if we do, that'll be fine. But that's my moonshot there. You made a deep learning AI to control a pet in Ragnarok. That's really cool. Did you use TensorFlow, or what did you even use for that? Because there's there's TensorFlow and there's what's the Lua one? Use Nginx to call a model endpoint. So are you using a model that someone else had trained? Is that it? Or did you actually train the model? Or wait, okay, I understand. You trained it before, okay, and the model somehow exposes like an HTTP endpoint, and from Ragnarok Online, you're making HTTP requests to get input from the model without having to actually embed the model in the game. That's what you're saying? Yep, okay. That's very, very cool. So yeah, you have some experience with this. I don't at all yet. And again, it's entirely possible that I give this a shot and realize that either the model would be gigantic and there's no way it would fit in the game, or just otherwise won't work for some reason. But this gives me like an excuse to learn this stuff. The other thing I should mention too, I'm writing this in Pick-a-Wait because I found Pick-a-Wait and it looked like fun. But I've been having really a lot of fun pretending to be a game developer here. And I've decided once I finish this game in Pick-a-Wait, if I really do like it, I think what I'll do is I'll then port it probably into Godot or something, and then make a full-featured, probably 3D one, I want to say. And there, I think the neural net thing becomes a lot more viable, because then we're free from the artificial constraints of Pick-a-Wait. So anyway, that's the plan. I've just been yakking for a while now, but or use Love if you want to continue with 2D with Lua. Yeah, I looked at Love before. That also looked pretty good. I don't have experience with Love or Godot or again any game programming at all beyond what I've shown you here. But the only reason I think I'm leaning toward Godot is because it allows you to use like other languages, essentially. They call them like GD native modules, Godot native modules or something. And I think I want to try to write most of this in Rust if that's an option. And Rust, likewise, is a new language to me. But, writing Lua is fine. I like Lua okay. The one thing that is painful, though, for me, is not having strict typing. These days, when I get to work on a greenfield project, I usually like to work in Go. Go is probably my favorite language right now, and it's just so much nicer having a compiler to come in behind you and type check your work. If that were an option, I think I would choose that over Lua. Though Lua is fine, In my mind, Lua is about equivalent to JavaScript or something in terms of how I feel about working with it. I suppose I don't dislike it. I don't love it, but I don't dislike it. Maybe Siri can make a genetic AI trained by the player directly. Yeah, that could be. So that's something I know absolutely nothing about. Like the deep learning stuff, I've at least read some books on at this point. The genetic algorithm stuff, I know beyond the high level concept, I know nothing at all about how to do it. That's something I could look into, though. I think that'd be pretty cool. I mean, like really any kind of machine learning kind of way to approach this problem is interesting to me, whether that's genetic or whether it's reinforcement learning, TensorFlow. Yeah, I just want to try to avoid having to manually program the AI, even though that actually would probably be pretty fun too. As an aside, almost as a joke, especially if I succeed in this neural net stuff, I think I want the plot of the game to be, machines have had an uprising against humanity or something like that. So it's like, the plot, the lore, right, is that you've got machines that have learned to kill humans, and the actual technical implementation is a neural net. I think that'd be kind of funny. This game could be a generation. It can be really hard because be aware of the player gameplay and challenge models in game. Oh, I see. So you're talking about having it adapt to the player's gameplay rather than making the AI play itself. I see. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. They're typed Lua extensions, but they're multiple and they all have a different feature set and principle. Some are Lua forks, some are independent. Yeah, I was looking at Moonscript, I think, was the one that seemed to be kind of the most legitimate or something. It kind of looked like the TypeScript of Lua. I avoided it just because, in general, whenever I use a transpiler, I end up regretting it. And, that was a lesson I learned initially with CoffeeScript back 10 years ago or whatever it was now. And then at the job, we use a lot of TypeScript. And I have to tell you, I do not enjoy working with TypeScript. So I avoided Moonscript and some of the others just because, despite the fact that I wish I had strong typing, I would probably rather not have it than have to deal with weird transpilers, especially within the context of Pico 8. That said, again, I haven't used them, and maybe that's an unfair opinion I have, and maybe I would have liked it if I tried it. But yeah, I just kind of dove into it this time and just went for Lua. You return to JavaScript after TypeScript? Yeah, that's probably what I would do. For me, the TypeScript as a language is just too painful to work with. Like your tsconfig file, there's so much nuance in how all of that gets configured, and I was a big fan of Node.js and JavaScript from like 2012 to 2015. I was basically a full-time Node developer around then. But these days I look at JavaScript and I just do not like what it has kind of evolved into. And I really don't like TypeScript. That's the technology I avoid whenever I can. It seems to work for some people. A lot of people like it. A lot of engineers that I think are talented like it. But me personally, I'd absolutely rather not use it. Let's see here. So, and anyway, what I was getting at though with the neural nets and crap is we're at 33,000 of, 66,000 characters. I think most of the important code has been written. We'll probably have the engine and everything wrapped up by 40,000 characters, which would give us, 25,000 characters worth of neural net data if I serialized it and dumped it somewhere. Would that be enough? I don't know. 4 a.m. soon. Okay, yeah, absolutely. Sounds like time for bedtime. Thanks for hanging out, Element, and thanks for the Lua coaching. I appreciate that. Good luck with your game. Have a great dev night. Thank you very much, Kanebo. I appreciate it. Very, very good to see you here. Thank you. Have a good night. But yes, that's what I'm going for here. The other idea I would like to play with is I think it'd be fun to procedurally generate maps for one player, but I don't know if I'll have the space for that. We'll see. What state is this code in right now? Oh yeah, we renamed this. Let me make sure I did this correctly. That all seems to be fine. Yeah, it looks good. forgot if I ran make. I have make set up to run a linter and formatter and that kind of thing. What I did here was one of my complaints about Lua, did the unit move onto the water? It didn't. So I said there's A star mostly works. I can't get it to happen on demand, but sometimes the cursor wants to go into the water like that. I don't know why. There's probably just some stupid bug. And like the function that draws the radii is independent of the function that draws the cursor path. And the radii work fine. But yeah, that cursor wants to go off-roading into the water when it sees water, and I don't know why. So I need to figure that out. But I fortunately cannot actually move the unit into the water. So I know there's some bug there to fix for sure. Oh, but what I was saying though about Lua, one of the things I don't like about Lua is I found the ecosystem kind of miserable. Like I've had bad luck with Lua rocks and stuff. So whenever I'm building this, you know, I wrote a make file, and the linter and all this stuff, this all runs inside of this Docker container. So if you want to screw around with this game, if you have Docker, the build tool chain will all work for you, and you won't have to like spend an hour compiling dependencies and crap. And speaking of, I think you guys noticed this, but this game is open source and on GitHub. I might put this on itch.2 or something for sale when it's finished. I might not bother, but either way, if you want to see the source or dork around with it or run it locally, it's there. It's all undocumented right now. There's no README. And again, as you can see, it's not a game yet, but this will be open source. And if I do sell it on itch.2, I'm going to keep it open source anyway, so you can buy it if you feel like it, or just download it if you don't want to buy it. Am I using A star? Yes, I am. I found an implementation from somewhere on in Lua, and then spent a weekend or so refactoring it. And what I have now mostly works. There is that one bug, and I think I can probably squeeze more performance out of the implementation. But fundamentally, it is A star though, yeah. Let me commit this guy. What do we do? Cursor, radius. We renamed radius. It's the cache. We renamed a cache key. Okay, yeah. Isn't overpowered for your own movement. So I don't think it is overpowered for my own movement. And the reason I say that is because instead of defining the movement manually, yeah, like so that's something I thought about, but I think I wanted to use A star for the cursor stuff, and that's because the way the radius is computed, okay, so this is probably obvious, but the thing to note is that each tile has a different traversal cost, right? So here, let's rebalance this guy to make this more obvious. So this demonstrates pretty well. So you can see how it's faster to navigate on roads than in the grass, right? So given that we have a situation where each tile has a different traversal cost, if we didn't calculate this yellow line, but rather just followed the path to the cursor, we might be lying to the player in terms of how they are able to reach a certain square, right? So I think A star is necessary for this, because this will compute the most computationally optimal way to reach any point in the radius. Again, excluding the bug where it wants to go off-road into the river for some reason. I don't know why it does that. But yeah, that's what I think. And then again, the so I'm using A star to draw the cursor line, but then the actual radius is computed recursively, and that doesn't use A star at all. And I'm not like in love with that solution, but I think it is good enough, or at least it seems to be good enough. You see, yeah, because you're right. You know, at first I was thinking, well, we can just like pop each cell the cursor visits onto a stack, right, and then just like track that. But yeah, I thought about it more and realized it actually could show the wrong path if I did that. Another option, because it's pick a weight, is just don't show the yellow line, right? That's something I have thought about and am still thinking about, though this seems to work, so I'll probably go with it. Let's see, this was a chore on radius. Substitute move to move. Let me think about this. That's the menu balance branch. Is that done? I think this is finished, right? I think so. Let's rebase master on this. Yeah, okay. Trash that. Oh. I don't feel like sorting that out now. Yeah, so the path doesn't, so like it's turn based, so like taking like a zigzaggy path doesn't make you harder to hit or anything. If that's what you're saying, maybe I'm not understanding. Be able to do a weird path, be able to flee a pre-attack system. I like, at least right now, that's what I'm thinking. Like, I am still thinking about how to do counterattacks, or even like the basic mechanics of attacks. Like, do I want like a randomness? Like, do I want it such that like, if I attack the CPU and my attack level is 4 or something, do I always do 4 damage to the enemy, or should it be like 4 plus or minus some percentage or something? And then the other thing I don't have implemented yet, but I do want to implement, is like defensive bonuses for certain types of terrain and stuff. So like plains and roads would have like a low unit traversal cost, but also a low defense modifier or something. if you, yeah, depending on the attack available if you're trying to, example, trap. So the other thing, there aren't really traps in this game yet because there's no Fog of War. And I don't know if I want Fog of War or not. I think Fog of War is a good mechanic, but I've just never enjoyed playing it for whatever reason. So, you know, I don't think traps are possible when you have perfect knowledge of the board. But I may also put in Fog of War. Like I haven't strictly decided that I won't do it yet, but I have not currently done it. I think what I'm going to do, just out of necessity, because I'm working in Pick a Weight, is, you know, build all of the must-have stuff first, right? Probably even including the enemy AI to figure out if I solve that with deep learning or if I solve it just in a algorithmic way. And then when I have all that critical stuff done, then I'll see, you know, how many more kilobytes I have to work with or whatever. And then try to pack in some, like, kind of optional stuff, because I'm having enough fun on this where I think I'm probably going to push this right up to the limit of what Pick a Weight can do. And again, right now we're about half of the way there. So yeah, there's still room for more features. Just some ideas. Yeah, that's great. I appreciate it. By all means, feel free to share ideas. You guys have given me a lot of great ideas tonight already. So let's see here. I'll probably wrap up relatively shortly here. I just want to take stock of where we are. So we did that. I think we can almost start turning this into a real game now. Oh, let me show you what attacking looks like currently, and you can see the problem. So this is an attack. Let me rebalance. So right now, if you attack a guy, he just explodes and he just deletes, and then when you've killed the last guys, you go to the next stage. And the other thing too, by the way, all these stages are just I made these stages in like 2 minutes. I just stamped out some crap, and I only have these 3 stages right now. So I haven't, like I said, I've been working on the engine, not the actual game. But I think what we can do now that we have the balance mechanism implemented is we can actually implement like the real battle mode here, where, you know, you hit for some number of points of damage and then eventually the guy explodes. I don't fully have this figured out yet, but I have an idea I'm considering here. So I already mentioned that I want your power level to double as your hit points, right? I want, when you take damage, you should lose power. And I want, you know, when you're out of power, that's when the unit is destroyed, right? What I haven't decided yet is when you're attacking, I'm considering making it such that you attack not just a unit, but like a subsystem, right? Like I can attack his range or his movement or his attack or something. But see, I don't know, because that depends on how I do the rebalancing stuff. Because if you can rebalance every turn, it doesn't matter. Because you could just rebalance if I attacked some subsystem, then I want energy, and I could just rebalance and then do something. But maybe, yeah, whoever had the idea of maybe making it such that you can either move or attack or balance, that might be the way to go. Because then, like, if I'm afraid of the damage you're going to deal me, I can shoot your attack, and you can't just rebalance and pump back up and attack me. You've got to, like, take a turn to rebalance. That might be a cool mechanic. I don't know. Pick-a-Weight seems interesting in terms of code thinking to optimize space and all. Yeah, it's a really fun challenge. I also like how it's intentionally very primitive, you know? I mean, that's like the thing about Pico 8. Because again, like for my day job, like I do a lot of, I guess, like systems programming and some web programming and that kind of thing. And like in the web world in particular, right? You try to write a hello world in Node or TypeScript or something, you're gonna end up with like 10 gigs of Node modules. You don't know what the hell any of it does, right? There's so many layers of abstraction on everything. I mean, like when I write something, I don't do it that way, but at work, you know, I don't have the luxury of choosing how to do some things. And I hate that, right? Like, I hate not knowing what the actual machine is going to do. But in Pico 8, there aren't libraries, there aren't dependencies, there's none of this. There's you, Lua, a primitive quote-unquote machine, and a very simple API, and you work from the ground up. And for me, that's just a very satisfying way to program. I really, really enjoy that. And then the space constraints and everything, too. They do really force you to think. And I think challenges like that make you a better programmer. Yep, if you rebalance with low energy. Yeah, exactly. So you would have to care enough about rebalancing to actually spend a turn doing it. I think that might be a really interesting mechanic. I'll have to think about that more, but so far that jumps out at me as being like probably the right way to do that. Because that also solves like the rock, paper, scissors dilemma I was talking about earlier, where I don't want to give player 2 the advantage, where you can just react and then attack. You know, if you want to rebalance to mirror your enemy, you have to sacrifice a turn to do it. I think that might be the way to go. Okay, so yeah, so anyway, next time we pick this up, I think the move will be to implement the actual attack mechanism. So I'll have to think a little bit about that, but I'll probably stream again either tomorrow or Sunday or Monday when I've made up my mind. But yeah, let's see. So let's see here. Who all is streaming right now? I've received some raids tonight, which I appreciate. Let's see if I can send you guys to someone else. Anybody got any other game dev streamers that you'd like me to raid or host here? Who's Pickaway is really cool to check into it. You don't care about computer hour else. Yeah, I agree. It's nice not to just take Moore's Law for granted and to use it to bail you out of being a bad programmer. I really enjoy having to think about constraints and do things in efficient and correct ways, you know? Let's see. Let's go. Here's somebody. Let's go visit Frankie Pixel's show. I don't think I've had the pleasure of meeting him yet, but I've been wanting to catch his stream for a little while, and he is working on some pixel art, I think. Let's check him out. The constraint, we found a great thing like in Twilight Princess. Yeah, I you know, what's the expression? Limitation is the mother of art, right? That's generally how I feel about constraints. Be able to do the low space and power is a great advance. Absolutely, I agree. I think constraints, learning to work with and around constraints make you a better programmer and just smarter person in general. And for me, I usually find constraint inspiring rather than limiting. I do enjoy them. But yeah, so I'm going to send you guys to Frankie Pixel's show. Let's see what he's up to. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for stopping in. It's been a pleasure meeting everyone. And see you all again soon. Have a great night. We will see y'all next time. Let's go say hey to Frankie Pixel Show. Or try to figure out if I know how to send a raid. Maybe I do not. Going to sleep? That sounds good. Sante, have a great night. We'll see you again. I thought I just did a raid, but I seemingly did not. How do I do this? Until I don't get viewers all that often. There we go. It's our raid. Something went wrong. Okay. Maybe that guy doesn't accept raids. Have a good night. We'll see you next time. Alright, never mind on the raid. I can't find any other developers, and the raids may not be working right now because I'm getting an actual error. So I'm gonna just go offline, I guess. But thanks again, everybody. Hope to see you next time. Enjoy your weekends. Have a good night.